In the very north of Canada, on a boat trapped in ice, lives a unique family in the world. Eric, the father, France, the mother, their little daughters Léonie and Aurore, as well as their 4 dogs, Elvis, Bella, Marley, and Inuit. A family which has created another life for itself there, away from the hullabaloo of the world, in the land of the Inuits. Grise Fiord, the northernmost village on our planet.
Moi, ça fait un soir.
Allez, zoom.
Oh, okay, I didn't see anything back there.
You didn't see anything?
No.
Well,
Okay, yeah.
next plane. Thank you.
Yes.
I heard there is a mail for me.
Yeah, the girl's gone to
All right.
for a break.
Yeah.
She'll be back in about 5 minutes. So
Okay.
yeah, there's some mail here. So Fran, you have some words for my new song that I want to learn about, that when the sun says hello to the mountain in French.
When the sun says hello to the mountains?
Yeah, car est soleil dit bonjour au montagne.
Quand le soleil dit
When the
bonjour.
sun says hello to the mountains.
That's all I know. I want to know more words.
I don't know this one.
Yeah, from who? Who is a singer?
Lucille Star, she's from Montreal.
Oh, sorry, that's why we
Canadian.
don't know.
Oh, yeah, ouais.
France and Eric are 2 amazing travelers. They've navigated and trekked across all the polar seas. At first they lived near the North Pole, the very top of the world, east of Spitsbergen. And for the last few months, they've been living in the vast northern expanse of Canada, near the village of Grise Fiord. After having stocked up at the only store in the town, they're getting ready to return to their boat. The trip can last up to 4 hours, with temperatures sometimes as low as 40 degrees below zero. France and Eric have anchored their boat, the Vagabond, which is frozen in ice for 9 months of the year, in a large fjord at the southern extremity of Ellesmere Island, 50 kilometers from the village.
Oh, look! Look at the big seal! You see? He must have caught it over there, maybe.
A ham, chocolate cookies,
Chocolate cookies, Léonie will be very happy about that.
Can we try them? Can we taste these?
Yes, you can try this one or that one. I have to put away all this milk.
Is the milk for me?
It's all for us, no? To make the baby bottles, to make some yogurt and some other desserts.
You're very far away.
You're looking through the wrong end.
What's that for?
They're better to cut off your ears.
Oh, that's a nice slice. Can you give me a little piece?
Can you give me a little piece?
Thanks. Oh, that's a big one. All that. You love everything that's on the table.
There were 3 crows who were circling over a duck, but it was Daddy who got the duck, not the crows. Too bad for them.
Ah ouais.
A year earlier, France, Eric and their 2 little girls left Brest for 3 long months of sailing. Their desire for the great white ocean wouldn't let go of them. They headed towards the north, always more northward.
There had better not be a storm here. You give it some gas when I tell you, okay?
There!
There. Push it forward. Go ahead. Give it some gas.
During their long voyage to the pole, they made some stops to carry out their mission concerning ice field studies. It's important for Eric, who is a scientist who isn't willing to sacrifice his passion for the extremes as far as his engineering work is concerned in the field of ocean engineering. A man who could never have imagined working in an office all his life without doing on-site field work.
No, it was
No, it was 7. 7.
Wow, 7 meters! Wow, that's a thick ice field.
Ah, okay.
2 polar bears.
Yes, 2 polar bears. And look, there's a 3rd one over there, way over there, you see? Look, there's one of them, and way over there, there's another one that's moving.
When you're navigating through the ice, there are always light swells. Even if there's a lot of ice, which can seem impressive and menacing, finally, for us, it's a lot less stressful to navigate with our 2 young children through the ice than to, well, not in the Caribbean, but in Brittany, for example. It's quite an ambitious undertaking for us to want to carry out our plans aboard the Vagabond, together as a family unit, with our 2 young children. It's true they need a lot of attention at the moment, but it's a pleasure to be able to share our time together.
There are some seabirds eating some mergule.
Oh, that's why they're flying away.
Yeah. Nunavut is the largest territory in Canada. It covers millions of square kilometers, including 3,000 kilometers of ice fields. Nunavut, even though it is larger than Mexico, has only 32,000 inhabitants, most of whom are Inuits. The Vagabond will have crossed almost 6,000 kilometers just to get to Grise Fiord.
Mail! Some mail for Léonie. What does it say? It says vagabond, and that's Arctic. Léonie and Aurore, vagabond Arctic.
Arctique.
Et on fait demi-tour. Oh, tut-tut. On y va. Tut-tut. Non, papa.
Léonie, what do you want to do today with your magic wand?
Ah bon?
The biggest advantage to this spot, which we really didn't take into consideration, is that this place is completely shielded from the wind. We're below this beautiful pyramid, where most of the wind probably comes from the north, from a northerly direction, and we're well sheltered by this wall of mountains.
The perfect fjord for us, after all, the ideal winter season spot for us. A good anchoring place, and especially during the ice jam season. When autumn comes, there can be autumnal storms, fall equinox storms that can be very strong. So that's the first thing, as well as the fact that it's an interesting spot for scientific work and makes our proximity to the village shorter.
And we wanted to get to know the Inuits better, so we wanted to live not too far from one of their communities. In any case, it could have been in Greenland or it could have been here. It just so happened that there were scientists who led us here because of potential scientific programs. That's what influenced our choice.
I was doing trainings.
Eric works with Christian Haas, a German glacier scientist living in Canada. He studies the role ice plays in a climate system, attempting to find the causes behind the shrinking Arctic ice fields.
You don't want to put it in the snow?
Only the surface.
So the scientific program they have entrusted us with for the winter is made up of two parts. One part on sea ice glaciology and another dealing with oceanography. Thus, the glaciology part concerns the increase and the decrease of ice fields over the winter months, from the moment the ice forms to the moment the ice melts, and then breaks and drifts away. All of this allows us to get a better understanding of the interchanges between the ocean and the fjord, the effects of the fresh water from the glaciers, the effects of cooler water which comes from the ocean, and the influence of the wind, because we are aware that offshore winds are going to cause a renewal of the surface water. And it's still a relatively novel procedure to take a series of measurements during the winter season between September, when the ice begins to form, end of September, beginning of October, right up to its breakup in July.
Weather permitting, Franz and Eric return to the village at Grise Fiord, which has 140 inhabitants. In Inuktitut, Grise Fiord means the place that never thaws. 2 airplanes a week bring provisions and passengers to the village, but sometimes Grise Fiord is completely cut off from everything. Some winters, airplanes can't land for a month at a time. So you have to be organized and go back to a more traditional lifestyle, being satisfied with hunting and fishing. All water supplies for the village, coming from glaciers, are collected during the summer and stored in 2 large cisterns. The closest, biggest village, Iqaluit, is more than 2,000 kilometers away.
C'est too big?
In order to get acquainted with the villagers, we showed a movie about our experiences in Svalbard, which was shown in a school. And afterwards, a lady came up to us and said, "If you'd like, you can come over my house and take a shower or drink some coffee." She gave us directions to her house, and finally, a couple of days later, France was the first to go there, and quickly a friendship developed. In fact, I think that our lifestyle on the boat wasn't so different from the lifestyle they're used to leading, and which they still lead today when they're on a hunting expedition and they have to pitch tents, or sometimes build an igloo, or even if they need to use a cabin for a few days. Maybe having these things in common made it easier for them to accept us and want to get to know us better.
In the village, without a doubt, it's the woman, the feminine persona, who's closest to nature. She has the closest osmosis with nature, and she loves living within nature the most.
Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Kuni Kenya. Kuni.
Polar bear smells good.
No.
Wow.
Was it on the ice or inland?
She could be locked to me. Ice.
Ice. Between big ice or flat?
Just ice.
Yeah. And was it, she saw the polar bear and maybe it was fast to kill it?
Mama, as she chased it.
She followed?
I would say that at first the Inuits are a bit distant, so you have to try to feel things out rather than try to understand them. Laïsa, who is very active, does what she has to do, and she tells us, make yourself at home. So we do what we have to do as well. And we can live together. There are times when we find ourselves under the same roof, and of course it's clear there is a home life going on there. But I've never felt any distrust, and I think they're also aware of something important, that they're the masters of their land. They know it. They also know that to live on their land is difficult for foreigners. So they see us with our little girls and they say, oh, such a shame. Maybe some of them say, they must be crazy. And then after that, they see how happy the girls are living here, and Leona told them she loved their environment.
Right here.
It's not too long?
Right here.
Yeah.
That's where we got dropped off, right here. That's where we end up with our tents here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You heard of him?
Larry Alderluck is one of the only survivors of the original settlement, the one that was abandoned on this ice range where his father, Isa, is buried.
Isa?
Yeah.
Isa, he was born on May 17th, 1898.
Yeah, July 31.
In 1953, right in the middle of the Cold War, the Canadian government decided to exercise its sovereignty in this part of the Arctic. Thus, some Inuit families were sent to populate the region by the Canadian government. Some of them, like Larry's family, originally came from Inukjuak, a village located 2,000 kilometers south of Grise Fiord. They were promised large hunting grounds, beautiful houses, and the possibility to return home after a year if they desired to. These families had absolutely no experience with the long winter nights and the glacial cold which reign in this region. The journey, which lasted a month, was extremely difficult and was a foreshadowing of the drama these people, abandoned on this ice range, were going to have to live through.
It was August 28, 1953, when we first arrived on the shores of Ellesmere Island. I remember walking with my mother, looking for heather. They call them heather. That's the thing you burn. To make fire, there's no trees, there's no wood, there's no scrap wood on the beach like in Inukjuak. Here, nothing. And you can see until April, March, April. No snow, very little snow. Nothing to make an igloo. We lived in tents, lying with hide, muskox, caribou, whatever you can find, in a little tent. 6, 7 people. My mother would cry. Even I would cry. It's fear when you're a child. That was what made me angry for so long. Why? And it was not necessary. 1953, it was after World War II. Life was good in Canada. People had things they need in our country, and yet our own government let us suffer like that? Not right. What can I do? Should I be crying and anger all my life? I can't. I'm a human being, you know?
40 years later, in 1993, the Canadian Royal Commission for Aboriginal Peoples found that this affair was one of the worst violations of human rights in Canadian history. The Canadian government paid $10 million to the survivors.
Truc à grignoter pour après le repas.
Papa,
Là pour la pâte c'est pas très rigolo, je sais pas trop comment faire à deux.
Papa,
Daddy,
What?
on pourrait peut-être
can we take some candy and put it in the cake?
pour mettre dans le gâteau.
In the cake?
Non, mais là, on va faire une tarte comme
No,
ça.
but we're going to make a pie like that.
On va faire une
We're going to
quiche
make a
avec
quiche and another pie with blueberries.
ça, aux myrtilles.
Liza! Liza!
Chin chin. Chin chin.
What do you say?
Here,
Yeah.
Inuit to kashuta.
Kassuta?
Kashuta.
Ah, kashuta.
Papa,
Daddy,
Chin chin, ma fille.
ça saute.
Kashuta.
we forgot something.
Tu veux qu'on apporte
Do you want to get the packages?
The presents?
Alors là,
Here you go. Here you
Oh,
go.
it's so pretty.
It's from me.
Léonie.
It's because we did it. It's because we did it together, but mostly it was me.
Léonie.
J'ai juste fait le nœud.
It's so pretty.
c'est pas
Daddy only lent me the pencil, and he made the bow for me.
il m'a fait le nœud.
Oh, there's a drawing. A lot of them. Oh, this one's so beautiful.
Beau celui-là. Ah, il me
Thank you.
The big one's from Laïsa.
Ah. Yes. Oh, so good. Regarde. Une peau.
A seal skin.
Ah, you know what I wanted. You know what I like.
I know.
Joyeux
Happy birthday, Mummy.
maman.
Joyeux anniversaire.
Oh, qu'il est.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Bravo! You really helped me.
Moi, j'ai pas un objectif.
I don't really have any precise plans on how to educate the girls at the
J'ai pas
moment.
réfléchi dans ce sens-là.
I haven't really thought about it in that sense, as it pertains to Aurora and Léonie.
Pour leur transmettre ça.
I simply want to lead a life that seems rich, interesting, useful, warm and domestic, because we're taking the time to do things together. And that will always be there, so that someday, when the girls grow up, and then they have their own desires, maybe living this lifestyle, which is a rather simple one, it'll allow them the time to explore other things. It will instill in them the spirit to follow their dreams and ideas and to try other things in life.
My hands are a little wet, aren't they? Look, the soap's dripping down. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? You can sit down if you want on the towel. You're hiding in the gloves? You're hiding in the gloves. You really are hiding in the gloves. What's the matter? Do you want to stay like that?
You following me, Aurore? Be careful. Maybe both of us shouldn't go at the same time because I'm afraid both of us might get hurt falling on each other.
Hold the page, because, Aurore, I have the feeling that your back is going to be cold. You want to get inside? Where's the opening? On which side? There we go. Charlotte is a little embarrassed. She takes the lollipop stick in her hand in a kind of idiotic way, and then it becomes a big stick, bigger and bigger, and changes into a flower with lots of blue petals.
When it's cold at night and you're alone, even without the dogs, you need to be concentrated. Every move has to be thought out in advance. You have to think while you're working. Okay, I'm going to do this and then that, to avoid snapping a frozen cable or getting frostbite. Not to forget to always look around to see if there's a curious polar bear around. I don't remember if I had a little cold or had a bit of a fever, but I couldn't go on anymore. I lay down and fell asleep, and when I woke up, I was really wondering where I was. I was lying down with my arms stretched out like a cross, and I was fine. It took me a few moments to understand where I was. Maybe I had only slept 5 or 10 minutes, but so little stories end up taking place. Each time I go out, it's different.
What's it like to live 50 kilometers from the nearest community at the end of the world? You have to imagine Eric leaving alone, surrounded by a blizzard, the big white ocean, ice and obscurity. When the temperature drops to 50 below and the polar bears are waiting calmly to see if his snowmobile is going to start up to leave again, and if it doesn't, if they're going to become aggressive. Over there in Grise Fiord, a large part of life is spent hunting seals and polar bears. Their community has the right to hunt 25 polar bears a year. A good hunter can make 8,000 euros from the fur of a big one. However, knowing how to hunt sometimes allows him to simply save his own skin. Losing these elementary and traditional notions is playing with your life in the middle of such a hostile and dangerous environment.
Afterwards, it's not just the hunters, but others who are going to use what's left over from the hunt. Those who, for example, are going to make sealskin gloves or fur collars or boots or pants made from caribou and polar bear skin. It's enough to slip on a pair of them to understand that we're a little foolish with our high-tech clothing, coming from carbon or petrol derivatives. It makes a lot more sense to use the byproducts of the hunt when they've satisfied their needs for meat and furs.
The village women have a lot of opportunities to get together, so they have quite a busy agenda. Mondays are for scrapbooking. Tuesdays, for example, is muskox day, learning how to process the wool of the muskox. It takes months, because first you have to pull out the warm wool from underneath the long hair of the muskox. So the skin is spread out in the middle of the room. After that, you have to sort the wool. After that, card it, etc., etc. It's a very slow process which takes several days, even Saturdays. But if the ladies have decided that the weather is nice on Saturday, it may be better to go on a picnic. So everybody goes on a picnic. Did you see? Léonie really understands where to find the fur.
Larry Olderlook is a real one-man band. Radio host in the morning, civil servant at the town hall in the afternoon. He's also an assistant pastor, musician and hunter.
You kept a lot.
I catch a lot of seal.
You kept most of the skins.
Yeah, the one for my wife for making clothes, see? You gotta have a sharp knife for butchery. When you have a good knife, oh, everything cuts so easily. It's beautiful. This is what happens when the fur market from Bridget Bardot days, a movie starts. We just throw the skins we don't need, which is, you know, very unfortunate. My uncle, if he lived today, he'd laugh at me. He'd say, "You wimp, you can't do it with your bare hands."
Yeah.
If he had lived. My late uncle was a big hunter. He used to chase polar bears on foot with just a gun. And he loved it.
On foot?
On foot. It was the sports hunting polar bear was, it was rated the toughest hunt in the world. In terms of weather and trying to find your animal. Okay? Yeah.
Hi. Good morning, Pepper Lee.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Uno saco ilinyon. Ulume, tiyo como yo. Ulume, tiyo como yo.
I already.
No, you got with you.
Yeah.
We're on Monday.
Léonie is a little girl like the others who goes to school and dreams of being a princess.
Okay, you're gonna do
But Léonie has always known about ice and polar bears. She knows how to recognize the tracks of a lemming in the snow. She knows what a drifting ice station and a coring sample are.
Can you
She's
see?
also eaten muktak from the skin of the narwhal. If Léonie at 5 years of age can learn to speak and read Inuktitut with Pepper Lee, her teacher, she can also learn how to hunt seals. And she especially knows what family life is about when her daily life makes her adapt to the challenges of living in the confined spaces of a boat.
suis pas la seule. Il y en a d'autres qui font des coutures dans mon village. Ma voisine, mais là, elle est partie en voyage. La neige, moi, je mange. Moi, je dis que la neige, c'est de la mousse au chocolat. Comme ça, j'éloigne bien parce que sinon, j'ai peur. En fait, il faut ni le mettre proche des lèvres, ni le mettre proche de la langue, et encore moins près des dents, parce que les dents, comme c'est sec, on a le droit de croquer, mais il ne faut certainement pas toucher la langue, sinon c'est drôlement dangereux. Tu sais, nous, on est en danger pour tous les animaux, même pour les ours. Parce que les ours, même s'ils sont très forts, il faut leur envoyer une balle, c'est tout. Mais même si l'ours l'a pas eu et qu'il meurt pas, eh ben, il a quand même peur de la balle. Il veut pas se faire tuer, donc c'est ça qui lui donne le plus peur.
One day, the family gets a visit from 2 hunters from the village. They found a baby seal which was lost on an ice floe and was fortunate not to have been eaten by a polar bear.
Look, do you want to hold it in your arms? The white coat. You want to come in my arms? Let's go see the baby seal.
She says, I hope it will not go to the dogs. No, for sure.
It was very unlucky. It lost its mother.
Yes, but you don't have to draw between the lines. You can do the little and big letters without them. First, trace it with your hand and try to memorize what you did. Then write the big and little ones anywhere you want. That's perfect, that one. U and N, that makes... Can I help you? That makes un, like un gâteau, un pâté.
Oui.
Great. Formal education and non-formal, which is what we want for Léonie. It's true that at the beginning I was a little too ambitious, but she really kept asking me. In fact, she turned 5 when we arrived, and she wanted to learn how to read and write. The only thing missing is the daily contact with other children, and that's why school would be good next year. If we're in the village, then she can go to school. That means that instead, the consonants and the vowels, you know, to make the le, la.
Can't stay too long like this. What's pretty amazing here is that you get the impression that you're in a setting which is completely frozen, inert, static, and then in fact it moves. Since it doesn't snow much here, and also because there isn't a lot of wind, the snow tells us stories. Between the heavy snowfalls, all the stories are side by side, piling up, but they stay there. And then we see some new tracks, and we know who has passed by. And then another guy has passed by, and then we see our own tracks. The snow really tells us all the stories. And then after, if there's a big storm, it's wiped away, and we reset to zero. And we start all over again with new stories.
Look, come and see. Elvis, come and see. Elvis, no, look, stay there. Elvis, come. He'll understand. He's gonna come. Come on. Careful, Léonie, step aside a little. There you go. You're with us, buddy. So I'm chopping at the bit a little because I'm the mother figure and I'm going to remain a housewife after all. So anyway, that's what we wanted and that's what we got. We've got 2 children. We're very happy. From time to time, though, I have to be reasonable and tell myself, you don't always have to do what's best or everything that I want. Above all, I have to be the mother of the family. And for me, the most difficult aspect of that is thinking about security. We can't leave the 2 girls on the boat, even if it's where they're often the happiest. I can't leave them alone. There are too many things that are dangerous on a boat. There's a stove, they can get hurt. So the super attention I have to pay as the mother on a houseboat gets to me from time to time. There, I said it gets me down. So once in a while I have temper tantrums. I think all mothers go through the same thing, whether it's in France or on an ice field. But here, sometimes, I find it a lot more stressful than I did in France.
Souffler sur la table un bon coup.
You can't let it get tangled up. The top has to stay high. I don't really know how to do it. Liza brought us a seal net, so that became our nighttime activity. First, I had to figure out how it worked, how to put the net under all that ice. So I spent 2 hours breaking the ice and digging my holes with the hope that I was going to see a seal come out of one of them. Anyway, I was disappointed because I didn't catch one. In fact, I had to have the top and the bottom. Oh la la, I hope we'll get one someday. The dogs will be so happy.
But of course, there are still some seals.
There, a hut for the water so that most of the water won't freeze. There, they're a bit broken, so I'm going to have some more problems there. Oh look, I wanted the biggest one, it's there. There.
Backwards! Forwards! One day at the end of winter, while the sun was appearing just above the mountain, Franz and Eric heard a buzzing in the distance. To their great surprise, they saw 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6 snowmobiles approaching. Once the hats, masks and hoods came off, they recognized Liza and their friends from Grise Fiord. It was the Ranger Patrol, the eyes and ears of the Arctic, who were on a surveillance expedition in 50-degree below weather.
So we had the chance to have some great company for 3 days. It was also an important step concerning our assimilation into the village's culture. The people got a better understanding of how we lived and what we did.
But we hope
and lights. One other families are Greenlandic dogs. They are big.
The best thing to go after a seal, don't wear that type of... If you have something like mangwok or
Something like
alligator, yeah, kamik would be the best. Yeah.
You mean no plastic ones?
Yeah,
Not
because
noisy
they
one.
make noisy.
This way?
Noisy.
Yeah,
Like the Russian things.
That way you get really close to it. Close enough to shoot. Like, for instance, it would be kind of like, hold on to that. It would be kind of tight like this.
And like this and like this.
And you just put your gun right here. Like, this would be kind of tight.
Time.
And it would be like this. Next time,
I will try to be a good commanding student.
You'll catch one.
Good.
I believe you will.
Yeah.
I said to myself, great, if we go seal hunting, it would be super for the dogs and for me. With the sealskins, I'd be able to make some mittens, some kamiks, and experiment with all sorts of things and make it through the winter more comfortably. In fact, immerse myself a little more into the Inuit culture. 85, you see, it's like that. That's a good size to hide behind because when I'm approaching, the higher it is, the less I have to bend down. Can you see me?
I see your feet, but before, when it was down and you were doing the same thing, we couldn't see anything, nothing at all.
You too. Do you want to hide with me? Can you see us?
Not at all. Anyway, all I can see is Aurore's glove and her feet.
Oh, that's great. You can't see me yet. Super.
To live like an Inuit, you have to know how to hunt. You have to know how to dig holes in the ice, be patient, and aim well. It's been weeks since France has been preparing to go seal hunting, and she's been improving her equipment.
I saw 2 seals there. Over there. Bing, over there. And then we'll see what happens.
One time, while returning to the village, an unexpected opportunity presented itself.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Vas-y, vas-y. Bout portant, bout, je suis sûr, vers le bas. Fais gaffe au chien. Allez, bien.
France has just killed her first seal. A violent experience, but without a doubt, necessary for her to get in tune with the Inuit way of life. Now you have to cut it up and not waste an ounce of what you've killed. The body of the seal is a means of survival on the ice field. You can use its fat for heating oil. You can make clothing with its pelt. You can feed yourself and your dogs with its meat. You can even use its skeleton to make hoops. You can even make a sled with the skin of a seal.
Voilà. Lui, c'est Bella.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready for the Grand Prix of Grise Fiord with the big race. It's going to be so fast that you're going to see some people running so fast in their lives for prize, and it's going to be just fantastic to watch, and hope you enjoy it because it's going to be better than the tortoise and the rabbit race, even better than that. So enjoy it and cheer for the winning team.
Daddy's going to win!
Go, Daddy! Go, Daddy! Go, 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 Daddy! Did you see that? Daddy won! You okay there? Hang on tight.
The village festival, like almost any village festival, competitions, slides, and also making Inuktitut sculptures. In the Inuktitut language, Inuktitut means something which acts for or performs the function of a person. Inuktitut sculptures have come to symbolize the Inuits.
This one is big.
After their first harmonious year in Grise Fiord, Frans and Eric have decided to stay with their two little girls within the confines of the community. They're going to give up their nomadic life for a while and are going to put their boat in dry dock while continuing their scientific mission and putting their girls in school. Together, they've made us reflect on the world in which we live. And their choices, thanks to their gentleness, their perseverance and their enthusiasm, in absence of anything spectacular, have become a wonderful way to rethink our lives.
Encore une.